Welcome back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. This segment here is going to encompass everything that I love about WNST. About 23 years ago, I started WNST, and first couple weeks on, I got a phone call from a local guy. Says, hey, I know you're into chiropractic. My office is right at the foot of the hill. You got to come by. You got to say hello. And I don't even remember getting X-rayed or any of that stuff because it was so long ago. But I have stopped by so many times, the Elliott Family Chiropractic Life. My name's usually on the wall in there. And if you've listened to WNST at any point in time, you've heard me talk about Dr. Steve Elliott. And dude, I'm embarrassed that I've never really had you on more. I know, I have an old picture of us at the barn back in 1999. We were both a little younger than Steve. And you know, and I don't know that there's anybody that I spend more time talking about the big picture of the world than I have you. And I call you a friend, but I don't know why I haven't had you on more often. But welcome in and come on into the purple couch. I got dressed up for you. You'll see that when you watch the video, Steve-O. You'll see that I don't come into the chiropractor looking this way usually over on Joplin Road, but. How are you, man? How you holding up? I mean, it's been 6-7 weeks since I've been in with you. You were one of the last stops I made when sort of the world shut down. I went back through my calendar. I had Mike Flynn on this week, and I'm like, those couple of days, if I had been convicted of COVID, you would have touched me during that period 7-8 weeks ago, and you would have been on the friend finder, on the locator and whatnot. But, we're all into this together, and I follow you online, and you follow me, and but we haven't been together. And how you holding up, man? You all right?
I'm good. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. It's amazing that 6 weeks have gone by. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because it crawls from moment to moment, but the whole thing's gone by in a blink of an eye. So it's one of those things that we'll get through, and when we get through it, we'll look back and go, oh, well, that wasn't so bad after all. Because I think as a species, we're pretty resilient that way.
But this isn't normal, though. I mean, staying away from each other, the notion of love and friendship and camaraderie and closeness and hugging and all of those things, right? When that's taken away from you, there is some sort of mental prison going on for a lot of us in that way.
Sure. And my fear is, of course, that those things are going to change in the future because of when we look back on this. Will we be as open to being as physical with our friends and family in the future? I mean, my whole world is putting my hands on people, Nestor. So that thing got shut down pretty quickly, or at least not shut down, but abbreviated pretty quickly. So I'm just curious how that's going to return in the future. But
that's for anything where anybody touches anybody, which is a whole lot of stuff, right? We start talking about all right, in a restaurant, we're not going to get a menu anymore. We're going to do it on our phone. You know what I mean? I get that. I mean, I get all sorts of things. They sent me a credit card back in February. That's a wand card. It has that little. That they all have emojis, but you wand your credit. You don't stick it in. It doesn't touch anything other than you. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool, but what's the purpose? And then 2 months later, here we are. so I'm trying to think of all these things where we touch or don't touch things, but. Look, man, I mean, you went through this with my wife and, you took care of my wife when she was in need and, when being near her involved a mask and involved rubber gloves and all of the things. And I remember you putting on a mask and, being a part of helping her at the hospital. And, I had that. I have over the last 6 years, and you know this about me. You adjust me, touch me, move me around, whatever, but I still don't ever shake your hand anymore. I elbow bump you, even though you're one of the people I do touch. And, I mean, it's changed my whole philosophy over 6 years of what a handshake represents, which used to mean, I love you, I like you, I trust you. Now it's dude, you got kids, you touch other people, I can't take that home to my wife because I've seen my wife get a head cold that's put her in bed for a month,
Yeah, it's just since you've been through this, right? You've been through this, the challenge of compromised immune system in your world. And most of us don't think about it that way. Most of us
Well, and how
don't have that
educated did I
challenge.
have to be 6 years ago, right? Like the day before she was diagnosed, I knew nothing about any of this: bone marrow transplants and leukemia and blood cancers, and wearing a rubber. And I had to learn on the fly. I got it real quick. Get her sick, she dies. Oh, okay, I get that. Okay, I know you love Steve and Allison, but you can't hug them.
Right.
You don't even want to touch the pen that the person before signed in with. And I learned this in 2014, like in a minute. I got Bubble Boy and John Travolta and Brian's song and leukemia, and those were my markers on all of it,
Yeah.
right? The things we saw in the movies, and 6 years
So-
later, the whole world's caught on.
Yeah, I will say that obviously we're not at that level, right? Percentages and the infectious nature of this thing is it's serious, but the mitigation that we're pursuing as a society seems to be really effective. Basically masks or droplet mitigation, and 6 foot distancing is again droplet mitigation. We're trying to prevent people being exposed to droplets out of the breath of some other person, and this all works really well. So we can do this. I don't think we need to be on the alert level that your wife needs to be on, at least as a society. Now the problem is that some people have underlying health conditions that they don't know about. So so the safest thing is everybody needs to be apart. Nobody can touch each other. All those.
Well, a great
things.
example would be, how long was my wife walking around with something that was like leukemia before she had leukemia? I think about the cold she had before and her recovery, and how it was always a little weird, that she was always slower to recover, and and I was never sick, right? And maybe I gave her something that my body, a couple of vitamin C's and 2 visits to Steve, and I felt better, that she didn't get through. And I would think for anyone in that circumstance at this point, if they were to contract this, I think this is how we're finding people in their 20s and 30s and 40s, at least initially in New York and Italy and other places, dying from this, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that they have a problem until it's too late or they're in dire straits. So, obviously the best measures are the safest measures, and you just want to be take precautions so that you don't find out that you have a compromised immune system when it's too late. Like your wife probably had, as you said, a problem going on for some period of time before it crossed the line into full-blown leukemia, and then she was challenged. In our office, we're really keen on the concept of a strong immune system. And we know that there are multiple factors in strong immune systems. There's diet, there's rest, there's a well-working nervous system, which is the area that we cover. There's mindset, how do you, as in stress, do you pray, do you meditate, do you read? So, we're looking at all of those facets with our folks in the office, and our main thrust obviously is the nervous system and how your spine affects that. So that's the area that we work on, but we talk about all those other things. I mean, in our office right now, everybody's masked. We only allow one person or one family in the office at a time. We're wiping down tables and doorknobs between every patient visit. So it's changed how we visit with folks. It's changed how our practice family interacts. But we're going to adapt and move forward. I'm always been a just kind of put your head down and move forward sort of guy, and that's what we're doing. We're just working in a manner which we think is safe and effective for all of our patients. We want everybody to be comfortable, to be able to continue their care. The state has determined that we're essential practitioners. They're really using us to try and take the load off of the emergency rooms. They don't want people that have low back pain to show up in an ER right now. It's just not the place you want people showing up.
It's fascinating, Steve. I've reached you this week on the health side of things because we are having literally, we've had presidents of hospitals on in the last week. We're talking about healthcare so much, and talking to dentists, and just talking to along the chain of our health. I mean, I had a dental appointment 2 weeks ago. Jen has one 2 weeks from now. Our dentist isn't practicing. They gave their PPE away. There's all of these things going on, and not to mention displaced workers and me being on the phone with Wells Fargo for 10 hours and trying to get a PPP to keep Luke employed and me and Peter and our family and our bills paid and all that stuff. We all have that going on, but I had some back pain, and look, let me reset. Dr. Steve Elliott's been my friend. Everybody knows that for 25 years. The Elliott Chiropractic Life Centers bailed me out, my wife, my son. I talk about it. The ads talk about it. 410-882-7670. Steve is here. But I don't think, and I guess I'm a little weird in your practice that every time I have a subluxation, I feel it. I do a lot of yoga, pretty spiritual dude, as the Buddhas behind you would tell you, as well as the Sporticulture flowers as well from Court. So I do appreciate that, as well as the magma lamp. I got dressed up for you too. You're going to love what I'm wearing when you see me. I have some sort of Hefner thing going on here, but it's nice. But a smoking jacket, even though I'm not smoking. But for people that have back pain, it's like or a toothache, which my dear friend Peter DeLutis had recently. I don't know what you would do in this circumstance where, if you have a toothache and your dentist can't take it. But the emergency part of this is, hey, you are there because we have to keep you out of Hopkins. We have to keep you out of Bayview. We have to keep you out of GBMC. And I saw even literally this morning, in watching the news, that 20 to 25% of every hospital bed in the region right now is a COVID patient. So that's kind of where the hospitals are as they've opened downtown. That the whole food chain of all of this is: don't get sick, don't get a cold, don't cut yourself, be careful around the house, don't throw your back out, all of these things that we would say, just as the dude would say, abide, right, chill, so you don't need Dr. Steve. But then there's just the ongoing care of, hey, I miss you, and my body feels the fact that I haven't been in to see you, but I'm a chiropractic patient, and I believe in what you do. I think for anybody out there, you're a great line of defense and maintenance, and I've always believed in that, which is why I've seen you for 25 years consistently.
Yeah, we're really trying to just make sure that our patients stay as strong as they possibly can from an immune system standpoint, from a physical ease of life standpoint. In other words, how are they moving? How are they feeling? Are they at their best from a physiological standpoint, and how can we help them be that way? And that's what we're doing. That's why we're open to prevent that person from having a problem, to prevent people from ending up at the ER. And also we're in the midst of, and we've got care plans where people are, they're in a lot of pain. They start in a lot of pain, and we're working them through a care plan to get them better. So kind of, you can't really afford to shut that guy down and just say, go home and lay on your back for the next 4 weeks. I mean, how's that guy going to get through that?
Dude, how many times have I come into you in 25 years, and I literally, and it's almost always the same thing, I wrench myself going into the dryer. Literally, the movement of where my dryer sits, and the fact that it's not something I do in yoga. And how many times have you, as Allison, taken a look at me and said, oh, no, you can see it in my eyes by the way I'm moving around. And I think about when I come into you and then when I leave, I have no question about, what has happened and the science of what has happened. And I just, on a personal level, I've known you 25 years. You told me I met you in 97, right? 97, 98. So you told me in the beginning, one of the first things you said to me is, how do you sleep? And I said, very well. Depends who I sleep with. I was single then. And I always slept on my stomach, right? With my face this way. And I always had a high pillow, which messes with my neck, right? That was Nestor at 27, 28, whenever I met you, 29. Nestor at 51 and a half, to make you laugh. I will be 52 in October. I have, in the last 2.5 years, finally listened to you. It's one of the reasons I don't come into you in abject pain anymore, is because I have learned through yoga, meditation, practical listening to you, not listening to you in my 30s and 40s, quite frankly, that I have learned through yoga and shavasana at the end of class to lay just like my cat lays, flat on the back, straight up, very little pillow. It disappoints my father-in-law that the My Pillow that he got from the My Pillow guy, the guy I saw in the garden there, who's got the book and the big pillow that's a fake and a fraud. And I have one of those My Pillows that my father-in-law, but like, that thing's like this big, and I basically use that for my feet to prop up my back. But since I've started sleeping on my back, and Steve, I catch myself. About 11:30, I'll move to the side a little bit, and my neck will crank, and I'll be like, and Steve, you're like the guy in Animal House. The pitchfork, the John Belushi character, right? I got the angel of Steve saying, get on your back or your neck will hurt, and you'll have to drive to Joppa Road and see me. And the pitchfork is, but it feels so good on my side right now, And Jen's on her side. So I've learned to sleep on my back now, and it has changed, literally, it's changed everything for me. And the other thing is walking around, and if I do this on camera, you'll see that I'm wearing my pajamas right now, but I don't mind that. That wearing sneakers, and these are clean sneakers. They've never been out of the house. I wear them around the house, that they really help my knees and my spine as a 52-year-old yogi. But sleeping on my back is the thing that if my younger self, I should make a note of that because I'm writing sort of poignant thoughts. My younger self would tell me to start sleeping on my back way, way earlier in my life, and I probably would feel better all the way around. Now, there you go. Is that my pitch for you, Steve? Is that fair to tell you that you were right, and like Fonzie, I was mistaken all these years?
Hey, come on. Listen, Nestor, one of the first visits in my office, I told you to take your wallet out of your back pocket. You did that right away, but this took 30 years. Come on.
It's hard. I was so happy sleeping on my stomach, except when I woke up and my neck had been like that for 8 hours. Yeah. But, listen to your doctors, people. Dr. Steve Elliott here. Give me some wisdom for you during this, because you always have, like, great deep thoughts. So watching people, you've been to supermarkets. Man, the last time I saw you and I and your wife were having a beverage together in Bel Air. Literally, the last time we were together, we were having a beverage, and I was thinking about going up to Philadelphia for a Black Crows thing. I didn't go. I came home, and now, I haven't left the house. But the only place I've gone is a supermarket. Common experience for all of us over the last 7 weeks. Give me some of your wisdom of what you've learned about life in a pandemic, which we had no experience with.
Yeah, the grocery store, the supermarket freaks me out a little bit. It is just, and I don't know why. I'm sure most of it is just a fire hose of negative news that we're taking day in and day out. So that's part of it. The other part of it is that I've learned to be a lot more conscientious of my personal space in public, and I've also learned to have more of a plan in public. A lot of people are still meandering through stores. We've got a one in, one out in Harford County as far as grocery store population is concerned. I don't know what they're doing anywhere else, but I know up here it's one person in, one person out. So let's be conscientious of our neighbors, of our own personal space, and let's have a plan. And then it's all comes down to me is basically, in essence, it's kindness. We're being kind to ourselves, and we're being kind to our fellow humans that are traveling this path with us. I've had a lot of friends and contacts, and between social media, which is starting to drive me a little crazy, all this. If you don't come out of this with a new language or a new skill set, you've wasted your time. And I'm like, man, there are some people that just are trying to get through their day without going nuts. So I think a lot of that is we're doing a lot of shaming on social media. And I just want us to be more kind with everybody that we come in contact with. So that's really my big takeaway of what's happening right now. It's really about this is an opportunity for us to work on our kindness, because let's not be in other people's space if we can avoid it. Let's get to the tomato aisle and get our can of tomatoes and get out of there, rather than standing there and saying, well, I don't want the diced or the crushed. I'm not quite sure. Let's have a plan.
I'm telling you, Steve, I was in the supermarket last week in aisle 9, and I could have gotten in a fist fight in the sugar aisle when a dude got up on me within 6 feet, and I said 6 feet, and then he got closer and acted like a complete jackass. And I'm thinking to myself, I just want to get away from this human being. This guy's been in his house, and he's got to abuse somebody in person, and I'm the guy in aisle 9, and the guy was just, you knew he was a jerk in real life, and you're like, you just got 4 feet when I asked you to get 6, and now you're 3. I'm just going to go 9 the other direction, and I'll come back for the chocolate chips later, which is what I did, and I just moved onward and upward. But I thought, man, I'm in the market for 20 minutes. My wife's had cancer twice. I just want 6 feet, bro. That's all I want. Come on. It's not hard.
It slays me. I mean, I'm sure there might have been a component of this is a hoax in that guy's brain.
Oh, my God. And he was on the phone talking out loud into a mask and then getting inside of 6 feet while he was talking on the phone, while he was shaming me. Some people in here are just crazy about all this. While he's got a mask on in aisle 9 in front of the chocolate chips. What do you think? You have the whole aisle to yourself? You don't have the whole aisle. And I'm like, dude, I'm just examining the semi-sweet and the regular milk chocolate versus the stevia dark chocolate that I do not want. This is literally the conversation I'm having in my head. I'm thinking, my wife wants to make dark chocolate walnuts. I got a mask on. I got gloves on.
Which one am I getting?
Just give me a minute. Is semi-sweet dark or is semi-sweet like special? And do I really want semi-sweet? And I'm thinking this through, and in this 10 seconds, this dude gets up on me going after the confectionery sugar. You know what I mean? And you wonder why I'm dressed like this and my hair's long, Steve, And I haven't had a chiropractic adjustment in 7 weeks, so...
Nestor, if I could learn how to cut hair, I'd be killing it in my office.
Oh, my God. It'd be incredible, right? I gotta go come see Paulie. Dr. Steve Elliott has been my life friend. That's why it says life. He put the life in the Elliott Chiropractic Life Center, 410-882-7670. You can wave to him off of 695, right next door, literally, to my friends Jerry Chevrolet on Joppa Road. So make sure you stop by, say hello. If you need anything in the chiropractic space, including some education or an attitude adjustment, Steve will help you with that as well, and has given me wisdom, including take the wallet out of your back pocket and your spine will feel better. So you're proud of me for sleeping on my back, right? I mean, don't you feel some sense of growth in me as a human being?
Yes, right. I feel like my son graduated. This is awesome.
I remember when you tried to give me the tennis ball and put it on my chest. Remember that?
Yeah. I was like, stick this in your T-shirt so you don't lay on your tummy.
Hey, man, appreciate you and all that you do. And, next time we'll get into the concept. There was a consent, and what was the other one?
Boundaries. Boundaries
and consent. Do you want to do that one now, or do you want to save that? Is that homework?
No, that's a whole nother ballgame. We'll do that another time.
All right. Deep Thoughts with Dr. Steve Elliott and the Elliott Chiropractic Life Center. Appreciate you, pal.
Thanks, Ness.
My back feels better just talking to him. See that? My neck's moving better. It's all good. I'm groovy. You can find me, Nasty, at WNST.net. You can find Dr. Steve wandering places in Bel Air, but certainly find him at the Elliott Chiropractic Life Center where my car knows the way up the hill. Used to have a big golf club next door. WNST.net. We're Baltimore Positive. We have done sports. There's some draft stuff up in the buyatoyota.com audio vault right now. Luke and I, Eric Edholm, lots and lots of stuff about the new queen of LSU. The first LSU draft pick of Baltimore Ravens and Eric DeCosta. You can find all that out at WNST.net. We're keeping calm. We're staying local. I'm getting dressed up and shaving and keeping my freedom patch here for everyone on the interweb. We are Baltimore positive.